$200 Social Security increase plus a $2,000 fourth stimulus check, specifically focused on Social Security, including retirement, disability, SSDI, survivors, SSI, VA, RRB, low income, and no income. I have all the details and what you need to know right here in the video, so let's get right into it. All right, now this is a great topic that I do want to focus on here in this video, as I have come out in separate videos talking about both of these topics individually, including a $200 per month raise to fixed income benefits, as well as a $2,000 fourth stimulus check. However, recently, down below in the comments section, I did have somebody reach out to me asking about the conjunction of these two and the likelihood of both of them. Great question. That's what I want to focus on. So let's get into it and talk through all the details. However, really fast before we do, thank you so much for joining me. If you're new here or if you haven't done so yet, please make sure to subscribe by hitting the button right down below the video, as it's totally free to do so, and because I am your one and only daily advocate. Not only that, because we are rapidly approaching 500,000 subscribers right here on the channel, which is absolutely amazing, and it would mean so much to me if you hit that subscribe button right down below. Also, please remember, I am here for you right by your side every single day, as that is my dedication, my commitment, and my promise to you and everybody right here in the community, as I'm watching all of this new information hitting the wire, doing the necessary research and breaking it all down into these short videos so you can stay updated with what's actually going on as things continue to change very, very rapidly. It's a busy, confusing, and uncertain time that we're currently living through, which is exactly why we've got to stay tuned with everything going on, because, believe it or not, all of this is going to impact us in some way, shape, or form. So again, I'm here for you in any way that I can be. Please make sure to subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet, and let's get into it and talk about the details of both of these. I want to compare them side by side, as well as which one is better. At the same time, what's the likelihood of both of these happening? Is it one versus the other? Do we get to choose? What are the details about this? Again, a lot of great questions and a lot of different aspects that I do want to focus on here in this video. All right, now let's break this down one by one here. First off, are they the same thing? No, not even close. Not even close to the same thing. In fact, a $200 per month raise to Social Security benefits is completely different than any type of stimulus check of any kind, okay? Two completely different things. However, is one better than the other? Well, again, that's going to be up to everybody's personal opinion on that. However, if we look at the real numbers behind this, right, we want to look at the numbers, because at the end of the day, just like what I like to look at is what's going to result in more money in our pocket, right? We want to know what's going to pay us the most. Here's the thing, because they both offer something different. A $200 per month raise to Social Security benefits is kind of the slow game, right? It's the slow grind where people get an extra $200 per month ongoing for long periods of time. However, a $2,000 fourth stimulus check would simply be a one-time lump sum payment where, boom, there you go, a bunch of money in your possession, and that's it, a one-time thing. So what would you rather have? The slow grind, getting a couple $100s per month for longer periods of time, or a one-time lump sum check? Again, very tempting, right? I totally agree. It's hard to know the differences. It's hard to know which is actually better. But let me shake out all the details here for you, because we've seen the details of both of these come out before. We've seen people talk, as in lawmakers. We've seen a number of lawmakers talking about a $200 per month raise to Social Security benefits. In fact, as of recently, the last few months here, basically since the beginning of this year, we've seen Bernie Sanders out talking about this a lot, his Social Security Expansion Act, which would include a $200 per month raise to monthly benefits for millions upon millions of beneficiaries. We've also heard from many lawmakers over the last few years here about a $2,000 fourth stimulus check. So we've heard all of this being talked about by lawmakers, the people who have the ability to make these decisions for us and to make any of these into reality and turn all of this into fruition. So they have the ability to do this, okay? A few hundred lawmakers have the ability to do all of this. Funny, our livelihoods are in the hands of about 500-600 people. Interesting, right? Yeah, right? Anyway, just a little quick side note there. So, I don't know, it seems kind of weird to me, but that's how it is, and unfortunately, that's what we have to live with. I know, sad stuff, but that's what we got to deal with right now. Anyway, let's talk through the details a little bit further now. Okay, so a $200 raise, according to what Bernie Sanders is actually introducing here and what Bernie Sanders is talking about with the Social Security Expansion Act, would result in a $200 per month raise to monthly benefits for millions of beneficiaries for about the next 75 years. Okay, well, I think that's an obvious one. What's going to result in more money in our pocket? $200 per month for the next 75 years or a one-time check of $2,000? Obviously, the $200 per month, right? But let's talk about it a little bit more realistically for just a second here. Even if we were to just look at it and say, okay, maybe the $200 only comes out for the next 5 years. Again, let's just be a little bit more conservative with this because, I mean, at the end of the day, it'd be nice if Bernie Sanders increased solvency and pushed out this increase for the next 75 years, but will it really result in that? We don't know that. So let's just think about it on a 5-year basis, okay? Just for practical purposes here, because we don't really know if this whole thing is going to pass in the first place. But let's talk through the details really quickly. All right, so let's just say this much. A $200 per month raise would be $2,400 a year. Okay, well, obviously the numbers are already making sense right here. If we were to get just a $200 per month raise on fixed income benefits for even just 1 year, one full calendar year, that's it, 12 months, that would result in $2,400 extra per beneficiary, and it would cost about $14 billion per month or $168 billion through the course of the entire year. That's what it would cost the federal government to send out 70 million beneficiaries of all the fixed income benefits. Like I said earlier, Social Security, retirement, SSDI, survivors, SSI, VA, you know the list, right? It would cost about $14 billion for the 70 million beneficiaries, and it would cost $168 billion through the course of the entire year. Okay, got it. Now let's take that same group of people, the same 70 million people, and let's apply a $2,000 fourth stimulus check, a one-time payment, okay? In the event of something like this happening, that would cost $140 billion. Okay, a one-time $140 billion. Now here's what it would come out to. The beneficiaries in this case would get $2,000 one-time lump sum. But in this case, it would cost $140 billion. In the other case, a $200 raise for 12 months would be $2,400 per beneficiary or $168 billion. So technically, it would cost an extra $28 billion for the federal government to send out a $200 per month raise versus a one-time fourth stimulus check. However, that's when it comes down to the federal government and the big picture. Now let's look at it on a little bit more granular standpoint here, because there are some other intricacies that we need to look at here. Number one, we need to look at taxes, okay? This is something we got to look at because this is the reality of the matter. All right, so remember this much as well. In some instances, Social Security beneficiaries would need to pay taxes on benefits. However, are stimulus checks taxable? Well, generally, over the last 3 stimulus checks that we've received so far, over the last 3 or so years, stimulus checks are not taxable. Here's why. They're not counted as income. They're not not taxable income, and they don't offset other resources. Why? Because it is a refundable tax credit. So basically what that means is if you were to file a tax return the following year, it'd basically be a refundable tax credit. So even if your income is zeroed out, as in you have zero income, you'd still get it because it's a refundable tax credit. Now, non-refundable tax credits, even if your income is zero, well then you don't get the credit. But this would be a non-refundable tax credit. So in this case, even if somebody has zero income on paper, remember, because of the standard deduction and other deductions and other credits and things like that, you can technically zero out your income in some instances, which is why most fixed income beneficiaries who receive those fixed income benefits generally don't even file a tax return because on paper, your income would be zero anyway because of all the deductions and things like that. So in this case, a stimulus check generally is not taxable. That is why, and the last 3 of them that we received, they were not taxable for this reason. It was a refundable tax credit. However, now let's look at a $200 per month raise to fixed income benefits and what this would mean. Would this be taxable? Well, depends on your situation. It would depend on your annual income. In some instances, yes, it actually would be, if your income would be within the thresholds. Basically what it comes down to, as an individual, if your income would be over $25,000 as an individual, or as a married couple over $32,000, then yes, your income would then be taxable. So you got to calculate all these differences here. Is in the event of a $2,000 fourth stimulus check, if this happened, well then, again, you'd get a lump sum payment of $2,000, which would be awesome, super cool, that at the end of the day, it'd be $400 less than what a $200 per month raise would actually allow for. But again, remember, a stimulus check would not be taxable. However, in the event of a $200 raise or $2,400 more per year on your monthly benefit, then maybe you might have to pay taxes on that. So again, you got to kind of run the numbers here. Which is actually better? Well, we need to see. If it's over the course of just a 12-month period of time, and depending on what your income is and where your benefits are sitting, you might be better off with a $200 per month raise. However, if you're very close to that threshold, you may opt for a $2,000 fourth stimulus check, because if you're over the threshold, well, now you got to pay taxes on some of your benefit, and are you going to pay $400 in taxes? Possibly, and if that's the case, you're going to be right back at basically parity of a $2,000 fourth stimulus check. Do you kind of see the differences here? Yeah, exactly. Now, one other thing I want to throw out there. I apologize. I should have said this right away at the beginning of the video, but I just thought of it right now, which is, as of right now, a $2,000 fourth stimulus check and a $200 per month raise, both of them have not been approved yet through Congress. However, like I said earlier, we know that Bernie Sanders is really hitting the table hard on this one. Bernie Sanders is really pushing this $200 per month raise pretty aggressively as of recently. We've talked about it a lot. Bernie Sanders has been out. He's had meetings with the president. He's been talking about it a lot, okay? So Bernie Sanders is making some waves on this thing. Again, pretty good stuff. But when it comes down to a $2,000 fourth stimulus check, as of right now, it has not been approved. But does that mean it is completely game over? Not necessarily. I also don't want to be here to, throw out any promises or anything like that, because honestly, I don't know what's going to happen. But it's all going to be based on the economic data that comes out the rest of this year and what goes on with the economy. If the economy really does, go down the tubes like many people are suggesting this year, well, then the likelihood of stimulus checks gets a lot greater, because that is how they stimulate the economy, is through stimulus checks. They've been doing it for the last 20 plus years, and this time is going to be no different than what we've seen over the last couple decades here, okay? So anyway, long story short, we got to really look at the differences here, because when it comes down to it on a 12-month basis, they're pretty close to pretty much one and the same of each other, especially when we factor in taxes and things like that. However, if we were to look at a $200 per month raise over the course of, say, 48 months, 24 months, things like this, anything beyond 24 months, then anything beyond 12 months, then obviously a $200 per month raise would be far more superior than a $2,000 fourth stimulus check, just because the real dollars that you would get at the end of the day would be significantly more. Anything beyond, basically 12 months. But if we're looking at just that one time horizon, then you can clearly see that they are about the same when you take everything into consideration. So anyway, good question. Thank you so much for reaching out and asking that. I really do appreciate it. That was a really good one. And again, I want to bring you back all the numbers here so we can clearly see and compare both of these side by side here. You can see the differences of these. And you just go back and check out the details of this yet again if you wanted to hear that one more time. But kind of interesting as you compare them side by side. They're kind of one and the same on a 12-month basis. So anyway, please leave your comments, your questions, your feedback down below. Otherwise, make sure to subscribe down below. Totally free to do so. I'm here every day for you, watching all these details and everything going out right now. All the latest updates that are hitting the wire, everything else that's being announced. There's a lot of things that are happening. It's a very busy, confusing, and like I said, uncertain time that's happening right now. But either way, I'm here for you right by your side every single day, no matter what. So again, subscribe down below, share the video with your friends, family, social media, and go back and check out any of the other thousands of videos here on the channel. Until next time, enjoy your day, take care, and I'll catch you again later in the next video.